Let's look at subtracting rational expressions. Whenever you are adding or subtracting fractions, you need to make sure that you have a common denominator. Y plus 5 is a factor of the second denominator, but it's hard for me to see what's going on with this first one. So the first thing I might do is factor that first denominator. So when I'm factoring that first denominator, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply together to give me -5, but add to give me a 4. So I might have, there aren't a ton of things that multiply to give me 5. 5 and 1 is kind of it. And if I had a +5 and a -1, those would add to my 4. They would multiply to my -5. That's looking pretty good as a first step. Now the second component already has this y plus 5 piece, and what it's missing is this y minus 1. So I am going to multiply the top and bottom of that second fraction, or it has the y plus 5. I'm going to multiply the top and bottom by y minus 1. Doing so will give me a common or shared denominator. So I have -18y over y plus 5, y minus 1. I'm going to multiply this out here before I do that subtraction. So minus, I have 3y times y, so that's 3y squared. And I have 3y times -1, that's minus 3y. And on the bottom I have y plus 5, y minus 1. Now one of the most common mistakes that I see at this point in the problem involves that negative. So keep in mind that this negative is subtracting the 3y squared, and that negative is also hitting this minus 3y. So if I'm thinking about what's going on the top, I have -18y minus, so that's a minus 3y squared. And being really careful with the sign, I'm minusing a negative. I'm subtracting a negative. That's the same thing as adding. So plus 3y. And I'm allowed to do this because the denominator is shared. Y plus 5, y minus 1. I'm going to keep going because I might be able to simplify this a bit more. I'm going to put that -3y squared in the front because I think that looks nice. -18 plus 3 is going to give me -15y here. I don't immediately see if there's anything I can cancel off from the top and the bottom, so I'm going to keep factoring. Both of these have a negative. Both of them have a 3 that goes into them, and both of them have a y that goes into them. So I'm going to pull out -3y. -3y times y would give me -3y squared. Plus, and it's plus because a negative times a positive would give me that negative. And I would need 5 because 3 times 5 would give me the 15. And there I would have the y for the 15y. This is one of those problems where, first off, it is a little bit longer, but I do see that some cancellation is going to happen. Namely, I see this y plus 5 showing up on the top and the bottom that I can cancel out at this point. So the only thing I have left on the top is -3y, and the only thing I have left in the bottom, or the denominator, is y minus 1. We crossed out this y plus 5 component, so for our restricted domain, we just want to remind people you can't plug in -5 because that would cause you to have 0 in the denominator early on in the problem. But this early expression of -18y over y squared plus 4y minus 5 minus 3y over y plus 5 after I do the simplification, becomes a lot smaller and easier to work with. So simplifying is really the process of taking something that looks messy, doing some work with it, and getting it so it looks less messy. That's how I subtract rational expressions. I need to have a common denominator.